All right, shorts weather. It was great out there. Guys had a good time getting back on the grass, focusing in, getting ready to take on the Bucks this week. So a lot of good attention to detail today in the walkthroughs. Practice, we started off with good energy, got after it, and then kind of brought the tempo down, and the guys kept the intentionality, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge late in the season as we get into these modes where, we have these combo practices for the guys to be able to, stay connected, gathering the information and seeing how we're trying to test our principles, test different things against the Bucks style of play.
Dave, Bryce seems to be getting out of the huddle a lot quicker than he did previously in the season. How did that come about? Like, how do you, I guess, coach that up to get it quicker, and how have you seen the benefits of that?
Oh, it's just comfortability, and it's not all Bryce, it's the whole unit. It's really guys just knowing where to line up, how to initiate the first parts of the motions of the formation, different things like that. The chemistry with the center, talking to Cade, stacking up these games so that they get things ID'd properly, quickly, and so it's really the whole thing, but it is his job to drive that, and it really starts in the walkthroughs. It's making sure that the scout team is doing a good job getting lined up so we can push the tempo of the play, get up at the line of scrimmage, get the information that we need. So it's a collective effort, but he certainly has to be the voice and driving that. He's doing a great job of that.
But to follow up on that, when you get to line up quicker,
yeah.
How much is that benefiting him in particular in the film and in the dialogue that you're having?
Yeah, it's the whole group, right? But the sooner you can get up there with time on the play clock, you can gather information. The sooner you start to engage your body language as if we're ready to go, then it gives you a lot more information, and it puts a little bit more strain on the defense. I've been around different coordinators where they say, hey, the average snap is around this time. Hold your disguise until. So if we can get up there and play ball, then that allows us for the defense to have to show their hand earlier, knowing that we can, push the tempo and do things like that.
I know you named Bryce the starter after Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Barring any injury or unforeseen circumstances, can we expect him to be the starter going forward?
As he continues to show us, just the progress that we're looking for, as he continues to, earn these moments, then yeah, he'll be in there. And that's what I've been most excited about is that there's a weekly growth that's happening, and so again, we're just taking it a week at a time. I know that's been my language, but he's really taking the responsibility of it and pushing us that way. And so and the bottom line is he's giving us a chance to win in these weeks that he's been playing.
I know you've been there for 1 year. How much of an edge do you have in taking on Tampa, a team that you were with for a season, you and a lot of their personnel?
There's some familiarity, but knowing Coach Bowles, like he's got a really sophisticated system, and he attacks each team kind of with the specific game plan. So there's some principles that carry over, but I know he's going to have some things up his sleeve. And I fully expect that. So the premium is for us to execute and to know what we're doing, to play fast, to make sure that we put the pressure back on them. And on the flip side of it, Liam Cohen's doing a great job with Baker and the whole group, and just mixing up the different things that they do under center, in the gun, a lot of variety, a really cool offense to watch, as we've watched a lot of crossover tape. So there's a bunch of good stuff coming out of Tampa. We know we have our work cut out for us this week.
To follow up real quick, what are they doing differently? Anything than what you did, you could say?
I don't really want to get into specifics of the scheme.
Coach, I haven't asked you for a while, but you mentioned 2.7 as the goal target speed, getting the ball out. How close are you to that? Have you been monitoring that as closely as the season has progressed?
Yeah, and I think when I say that, that's kind of a generic term for certain types of drop back passes. But as you know, our play passes take longer. So certain concepts that require that. I think it's probably the decisiveness that I'm looking for within that time frame. So sometimes it's the ball's out at that time. Sometimes it's you got to go. Around that time, and given the protection of the offensive line, and doing a really good job. And I've just seen Bryce being really decisive back there, whether it's getting the ball thrown away, whether it's completing it, whether it's taking off and running or extending the play. But it's just kind of training the whole group around that.
Dave, how would you assess kind of the rookie group as a whole at this point in the season?
I would say just a group that's really into it, engaged, focused, taking coaching. This is a group of guys that they understand, like, the rookie coach comes in with this rookie class, it means something. This is important for all of us as we build this team and we become us. It's capturing that play style. And so, I put myself right in that group with those guys, and we all take pride in building something and connecting with everybody. And those guys have made the most of their opportunities, which is what I'm really proud of.
All those guys had extended kind of reps in training camp because of some injuries. How much did that benefit some of those guys in particular?
That's huge, Darren. You talk about guys like JT Sanders who had to take a ton of reps because of Ian and Tommy really dealing with, injuries. It was Shaq and Josie, so Trevin got a lot of reps. It was Shaw Smith-Wade getting mixed in there, but not as much. He was kind of in a deeper group there in the cornerback position. But all these guys, they got a bunch of exposure in camp, which, does pay dividends along the road.
There were questions about Bryce's size and whether he could see over the line and downfield, et cetera. Sunday seemed like one of the best examples of his career where he had guys in his face and he was still making the completions. What do you think about that particular aspect of his game?
Yeah, I think it's a tribute to the whole group. It's trusting the guys running the routes. It's Thielen, it's Demo, it's Xavier, it's Jatavian, Tommy, DT when he gets in there, who's had familiarity with our system. So I think that the trust factor allows you to play anticipatory quarterback, and he showed that. There were a couple of times where they had a better pressure than we had protection, and Bryce got a quick solution with guys being exactly in the spots they needed to be in. So it's a real tribute to the whole group.
What do you learn about yourself in this process with Bryce?
I think this is just, for me, the challenge has just been to go right back to the basics and the things that I've been doing for years working with quarterbacks is going to the footwork, going to the progression, talking about the weeks and making sure that the quarterbacks feel involved with the solutions to the problems. I think, Bucks, Tom Moore, one of the things is one of the things quarterback always wants is you got to have answers. Have answers for the different things that a defense can do. And so I think that process has been great, just all the conversations that we've had over the season. So just, I guess if you're asking me, learning that is just continue to stay with the things that have worked over time, and apply those things to Bryce, to Andy, and these guys.
With your familiarity with the Bucks, obviously, are you a little more involved in the defensive meetings this week?
Just a couple of things, but I think that they're seeing some similarities in terms of the concepts that we've thrown at them. There's wrinkles that they have that are specific to the Bucks, but so just a little bit early on in the week. But again, the focus is on us. The focus is on taking last week's game and improving the things that we didn't execute well, taking the things that worked for us and seeing if there's different ways we can apply those things. And so that's really been the challenge for me. It's a great question. It's just like, as I know a bunch of those guys that I got to work with, the discipline for me is to just be focused on here, what are we doing, and how are we progressing, and then what are the new challenges that this particular opponent face or poses for us. So that's been the challenge for me. But again, it's a good reminder. It's like, okay, it can't be about them. It's about us. That's what we talk about. So
Dave, we saw JT at practice watching.
Yeah.
What's the latest on his neck injury, and then what's the latest on Jalen Cook?
Yeah, so a bunch of great news about just his injury overall and where he's at, but just the recovery of just a real high impact play that happened. I wouldn't anticipate JT playing this week, but he's feeling better and better every day. Today we weren't able to get him out there in practice, but we'll see if we can do something with him tomorrow.
What about Coker?
Yeah, Coker is still, working through a quad, and we weren't able to get him to even test him on Sunday, so we put him right into a return to play protocol, following the game on Monday, and so he'll remain there. We don't expect him to be playing this week.
Hey, Coach, Hubbard is generally a reliable receiver.
Yeah.
Had trouble on Sunday, 1 for 5 on targets, but is his thumb giving him trouble?
I don't know that. I know he's works on it. He's one of the first guys out there, last guys to leave on the jugs with different goggles and different things that he does, to get himself ready for the game. So, I would expect Chuba to continue to work through this.
You were so positive early in the season when maybe there wasn't a lot of things to be as positive about from the outside looking in. Now that you have seen some buy-ins, some things change, I'm curious, is that sort of mantle of the momentum building being taken on by people in the locker room, or is that sort of you sort of leading from the front as well?
It certainly is the players, and I think that it's first and foremost we're getting to know each other, and I can talk to them about the scheme and the philosophy and the style of football that we want to play all I want, through camp, through the off season and all that, but until you start facing real challenges in games, until those stakes become that way, then all of a sudden it starts to make sense, and I preach about the ball, and we've grown so much in terms of our ball security and just like the way we finish plays when we have the ball, defensively striking at the ball, trying to make those attempts and really, so for me, it's about the guys taking that ownership, and just what I've noticed is the guys just lingering. They're just around a little bit longer. They're here a little bit earlier. And they like working with each other. And to see that is huge for me, because then it's like, okay, we have this foundation. We know what we're trying to get done from a football standpoint, but it's the relational part, guys playing for each other, that's really happening, and that's the part that I'm so excited about.
Dave, you've had a chance.
We'll do a couple more questions.
You've had a chance these last 3 weeks and your staff to coach in very close one-possession games that are more typical of every Sunday in the league. How valuable will those reps be to you as a head coach? And you seem calm. I'm not sure what's going on inside, but where does that demeanor kind of come from for you?
I have great help. I got George Lee upstairs, and we have these conversations all through the game, different situations. Should we take the penalty here or not? What's the clock look like? How are we managing this situation or that? And so, between that and then just having the guys offensively, at least, that I'm talking to as far as play selection and all that, just people that I trust, that gives me a certain element of calm, and then for me, it's just been about seeing what we're good at, seeing what we're confident at, and where are we playing fast? Okay, how can we just draw that up a little bit different and do it again? So that whole process has been great. But to your point, every week is a lesson for me. Every week is getting back together, talking to analytics, talking to George, talking to the staff, and second guessing every single call that I made. And oh man, I wish I would have called that in this situation, not this one. Or hey, this was really good. This was good feedback, guys. We hit it exactly at the right time. And we had some success there. So just kind of living those experiences, being humble enough to take the criticism and the things that we need to work on and fix. It's not just the players, it's the coaches as well, as far as the accountability goes. So all those things have been really valuable.
Any thoughts on picking up James Houston?
What's that?
Any thoughts on picking up James Houston?
Not right now. I'll talk to Dan about that, but.
Last one.
Dave, the defense has been obviously through a lot with the injuries and the like, but in the last 2 weeks, I know the sample size is small, but is there any way to quantify the impact on the overall defense that DJ Wanham has made from front end to back?
I would say that it's a whole group that's been trending towards good football and communication. Our tackling improved last week. We kind of got a few tackles away. We missed it more than we are used to. But I think, so specifically to DJ, he jumps into a group that was trending in the right direction in terms of growth and communication. And then he brings a bunch of experience, played in the scheme before. And then the way he prepares, just his professionalism and all that is great. And it's a great for guys like Josie, for guys like Jordan Fuller, Xavier Woods, Ashawn Robinson, for guys, Michael Jackson, the guys that have played a lot of football, he's just another guy that's comfortable out there talking, communicating, working through things on the sideline. But for the young guys, it's really cool to just have another guy to show them how to prepare and how to be so meticulous about your rush plan, about playing the run, and the discipline that it requires to play football in this scheme. So, and just all of those things, and just a good story, right? Just like overcoming adversity and then having his opportunity and really playing with a bunch of gratitude. So he's been huge.
Does he kind of end up a missing piece to that? Because you guys went into the season and there were questions on who's opposite Clowney and
yeah.
who's going to bring that pressure. And now he plugs in and suddenly it feels like everything, they've been trending that way, but
yeah,
like it all clicks.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great addition, because it gives you balance when you have Clowney and you have, DJ Wanham on either side. It allows you to play stout in the run game, and it allows you, to rush the passer on both sides.
All right, last one.
Coach, real quick, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
What was that?
What are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Thankful? I got to start off with my wife. I got to start off with just, she's been a part of this journey since I was coaching JV football, and to be here in Charlotte, and to just, immersing our kids into the community in the way that she's involved herself in this football community, but also just in our neighborhoods and in the sports world, And then I would say after that, just everybody in this building, the men and women that just work so hard 7 days a week. We're all here. We're sick of each other, but in a good way, because it's all hands on deck and we're all pulling in the same direction, trying to make this football team and become the identity that we're chasing after. And so I'm really appreciative of all the people that have been working so hard.
Go ahead, Mike.
You mentioned working with analytics. I'm just curious, how has the analytics department impacted your operational nature week to week?
It's been great just kind of making sure that I don't have any blind spots, and that's been most valuable. And I don't want to start saying what those blind spots are, but they just kind of say, hey, did you know that this is happening in this scenario, or we're having a lot of success when you pair these couple plays together or things like that. So that's been really Eric Eager. It's been really valuable information, and Brant Tillis works with Eric. They're always having these conversations, and they have, I'm sure, way more conversations, but they kind of filter it down to something that I can digest because that's not my world, that's not my background, but that's an area that I want to continue to grow in and make sure we're applying it to our football.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Okay.